could you imagine what would happen if you went along to this book club and you've been reading this book, Responsibility Rebellion, and you're reading chapter 19, page 211, talking about developing emotional intelligence. So you're right into this chapter, you're resonating with it, this information's resonating with you, you're really passionate about it. So you go to this book club now and you have a conversation with someone else who's there, and they're saying, so what value are you finding in this book? What's your main takeaways? And you're talking about the realizations that you've gained about developing emotional intelligence. Then this person just, oh, hang about, no, stop. That's wrong. That's not right. You couldn't possibly be getting that from this book. What I'm understanding, what I'm taking from it, is this ego trap of self-improvement, how some people become so focused on self-improvement and growing and developing that they don't sometimes appreciate how it is that they are just growing and developing. Some people take such a striving approach to personal growth. And then what happens is you say, well, that's not what I'm taking emotional intelligence, and then you end up in a heated academic head debate, just simply because you and this other person aren't coming from the same page, right? You're not coming from the same part of the book. All right, now, interesting idea, right? Because all I want to help us do here is just get on the same page, as it were. Reason being, I have to. As a teacher, what I understand is that there are an endless number of teachers out there who are presenting this topic in different ways. There's a pretty good chance that I'm going to be teaching mindfulness in a very different way from many others. Yes, I have a bald head, you'll see that, but I'm not a monk. I'm not wearing an orange suit or robes or anything like this, all right? What I want to do here is help you how to become more mindfully aware in the context of a busy and chaotic 21st century life. Reason why is because I don't have any experience of living in the hills in the Himalayas. Whilst I've gone on a few mindfulness retreats in the past, I didn't find much value in them. I think the questions I was always asking, especially in the early days when I was kind of studying, was, okay, it's fantastic kind of going to a retreat for maybe, for a long weekend or a week or something like that. But, that's kind of like escapism just a little bit. How is it that I can best regulate and manage myself when in the midst of chaos, perhaps, in the midst of a work debate or some sort, when I'm meeting targets, or, perhaps if the kids are running around screaming a chaotic family home day or something like that, which is where most people experience and live life. So yeah, it's great going and escaping from life and, engaging in, self-love or deep breathing. But the question really is, how is it that we can best operate in the moment when we're surrounded by noise and chaos and tension, which is incidentally where most people live their lives? All right, okay, so this is hopefully just getting us on the same page, as it were. I'm hoping you can relate to the word chaos, all right, or chaoticness, because I don't know about you, but I've experienced plenty of chaos throughout life. And the question is, how can we bring calm into the midst of chaos? So let us just look at what mindfulness is, the basics of what it is that I want to share with you here. Being mindful essentially means paying close attention to what's happening in the moment. Put simply, mindfulness is just about being present. It's about you being fully here. Right now, you're not going to be fully here right now if you're thinking about what you're going to be having for dinner right now, or if you're living in some sort of traumatized experience that you had at some point in the past, right? Right now, come on, we're just getting started. Where's your attention? Is your attention on me and what I'm saying, trying to understand, or is your attention on perhaps some judgments you're making about me? You're perhaps trying to figure out whether I'm a good guy or a bad guy, whether I know what I'm talking about, whether I don't, because the assumptions and the judgments that you ultimately make will determine your experience. Right? This is what mindfulness is all about, right? Understanding what our minds are saying. Right? Reason being is because, there's two types of thought. There's conscious thought, and then there's unconscious thought. Conscious thought is about us deliberately, getting clear on what we focused on here. What am I thinking about? What decisions am I making? Am I making any judgments? So in this way, mindfulness is about observing. It's not about judging. It's about observing ourselves and about observing life objectively. Right? Free from emotion, outside of judgment. When we notice our life via distance, all right, we become significantly better able to manage and regulate ourselves emotionally, all right? So you notice your life via distance instead of reacting to life emotionally, right? When we can do this within ourselves, we can do this socially, we can do this in the context of a work environment, we can do it in the midst of society at large, all right? We observe society, we observe people, we observe ourselves instead of reacting to society or other people or ourselves emotionally. Objectivity versus subjectivity. So here's the basics now of mindfulness practice. Right, there are not going to be any techniques. I am not an advocate of techniques. All right, techniques do not enable self-discipline. All right, so you don't need a meditation cushion. You don't need special equipment to assess your mindfulness skills. You don't. All right, all you need is to set aside some time and space for self-reflection. If you find yourself emotionally reacting to something, rather than just going with the reaction, ask yourself, why? What judgments am I making? What assumptions am I making here? This is how we grow in self-awareness, by just becoming aware of what's actually happening inside of our mind. All right? Fighting to understand our thoughts, all right? To make our thoughts more conscious than just mindlessly accepting the unconscious thoughts. All right? Accept the present as it is. Accept things as they are. Accept people as they are. This is the basic of mindfulness practice. Right? Why is it that so many people are so quick to take offense today? I dislike this person. I dislike that person. I don't like this book. I don't like that course. I didn't like this movie. I didn't like this experience because it wasn't what I expected it to be. All right? You know, there's this basic idea that it's not what we find in life that disappoints us the most. It's actually just us who disappoints us the most when we set expectations on people and things. Right? We experience disappointment when our expectations aren't met. So if we can learn to cut expectations out of our life, at exactly the same time, we get to cut disappointment out of our life. But in terms of expectations of people or things, no. The basic principle of mindfulness is to accept the present and things and people as they are, right? Rather than judging them for what they're not. All right, this can bring a lot of peace into your life, I promise you. So the aim of mindfulness is not quieting the mind. That's not the aim of mindfulness. The goal is to pay attention to the present moment without judgment, right? That's it. It's actually just about us being at peace and still within ourselves, right? It's a discipline, right? So let your judgments roll by. This is the basic. Number 3. When we notice judgments arise during our practice of mindfulness, we can then make a mental note of them and just let them pass by. All right? Do you like my shirt? Do you like my accent? Do you like my bald head? Do you not like my bald head? Do you not like my designer stubble, my facial hair? Okay, well, if you don't like it, or whether you do like it, it kind of doesn't matter. Just let your judgments roll by. Let them go. Let them go and just let yourself be. All right, I guarantee this is where peace is found, right? Peace is found outside of judgment and outside of expectation. So, 4, return to observing the present as it is. Just say, for example, I say something in the videos that follow and you jump and take automatic offense. I disagree with this, I disagree with that. It's because you've made a judgment. That's why, all right? So if you notice and you're able to identify that you have made a judgment through observing an emotional reaction that you're having, well, then you can stop and return to observing the present as it is. Okay, so what's actually happening here? If I'm taking an offense, why am I taking an offense? If I'm really appreciating this idea, if I'm agreeing with it, why? It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about understanding the reasons why we agree or disagree. This allows us to better understand our own unique frame of reference, which is just essentially how it is that we see things. All right? So I want to help you understand how it is that you see things. Then make an evaluation as to whether there's perhaps a healthier way that you could see things moving forward. Our mind often gets lost in thought. Can you relate to that? I don't know about you, but I have a very, very fast-paced mind, all right? So I have to work hard to discipline this fast-paced mind, stay on top of it. Otherwise, I can end up saying and doing things that I don't mean to say and do, all right? Many people do this. Mindfulness is the discipline of returning over and over to the here and now. Come on, it's easy, isn't it, to sometimes become so focused on the future, what might happen tomorrow, what might happen next week. This thing may happen at some point in 3 months' time from now. Some people get stuck and stranded in the past. I had an experience 25 years ago, and I just can't move on from this. Well, you already have moved on from it. That was like 25 years ago, right? Mindfulness is about focusing on the present, here and now. Because right here, right now, we don't have any issues. Right here, right now, we don't have any problems. Right here and right now, we have everything that we need to make the most out of our lives. But people don't always appreciate this because they become more focused on what they don't have, or what on things aren't, or focused on perhaps not having what they think they might need at some point in the future to live a more tranquil, at peace, or meaningful, or fulfilling life. But mindfulness is just about accepting where we're at right now and being at peace in the present. That's all. Be kind to your mind. It's the last basic that I want to present here before we move on. There's a pretty good chance that I'm going to present some ideas that are going to confront you, right? It's kind of like I want to hold a mirror up to you to help you better relate to yourself, to identify the parts of you that are working, that aren't working so well. And if you do happen to find some parts of you that aren't working so well, that's okay. We're working on this journey of personal growth, right? We're learning. We don't know what we don't know. And there's a lot of peace to be found in this. Be kind to your mind. Don't judge yourself for whatever thoughts crop up, right? Listen, I have really corrupt thoughts most days, but I have the discipline not to act on them. There's a pretty good chance that you have corrupt thoughts. You might have selfish thoughts every now and again. You might have crude thoughts. It's okay. It's part of life. All right. This training course and growing up and developing as human beings is about learning to regulate and manage this mind, to take control of this mind, and ultimately take complete control of ourselves through the process. All right. So don't judge yourself for whatever thoughts crop up. Just recognize when your mind has wandered off, so that you can gently bring it back into alignment for whatever direction it is that you feel would be most healthy for it to be focusing in.